Networking Squared. We are back. Al, we are just on information overload. Al's all worried about the silver tsunami, and he wouldn't have that much concern if he dyed his hair. I'm just, you know what? I don't worry about it. I just dye my hair and forget about it. So being on stage and entertaining, I have that excuse. Or just shave my head, and sometimes I think about that. So you really wanted to know about this silver tsunami. Is it scaring the crap out of you, or what?
Well, it's not, but I think it is sharing for our listeners. I think it is. I think that because of knowing people like Victor, I think I'm pretty well informed, but I just know there's a lot of people that are not. And that's really why I want Victor to be able to help these people, because they need it. So Victor, welcome back to this segment. And what I want our listeners to understand, and you were sharing again these statistics, is that these people are actually being buried with information when they approach that 65. And now I think what's happening is now they don't know what to do. And can you give some advice? What are the things that they need to do? Obviously, seeing you face to face is one of the biggest things.
You're right, Al. In fact, federal law dictates, and this is law put together by CMS, Center for Medicare Services. You have 3 months before the age of 65, the month of your birthday, turning 65, and then 3 months after you turn 65 to sign up for Medicare. Okay? There are two parts to Medicare, Part A and Part B. Part A, we get free because we've worked at least 10 quarters paid into the Social Security system. Part B, however, we have to sign up for, and that now we are charged a fee for that. In years past, it was $96.40. In 2010, it was $110. In 2011, it's going to like $117. It goes up each and every year.
Okay. So I think the key is in this situation is that if we have a loved one, if it's one of ourselves, our spouse, whatever, that are approaching this age, then I'm really, really encouraging people to contact you and help you. You can help them understand this, because I think it is a terrifying thing for a lot of people, and they're either not going to act and they're not going to be covered, or they're going to make some really poor decisions that could really haunt them for a long, long period of time. So that my first ask would be for them to contact you. Now, the next thing I want to cover is that you don't just do individual policies. You also do group coverage as well, correct?
That's correct. And another sweet spot of where I can be effective and educate folks is in the group marketplace. In other words, if you're self-employed or if you have a small business or whatever the size of business is, the most important thing today is being able to have a benefit package where you can recruit, retain, and reward employees, because that is one of the main items that when a person goes to work for you, they're looking for. They want health care. And if you don't have it, they're going to look at the competition if they're also hiring.
Correct. And I think with all this stuff with Obamacare, I think that there is a lot of fear and uncertainty with it. And again, I think it's one of these things with our listeners. If you are a small business owner and you're really looking at businesses that are like 15 employees and under, correct?
That's a sweet spot of mine, because those are the ones that really need the most help. They've got a smaller number of employees. They're just barely hanging on by their fingernails. They still have folks that have families and children to take care of. And so they really do need to retain their health program, but it's getting so much more expensive now that they're almost thinking of throwing it out the window.
And because you are an independent agent, you're able to, again, is this a free consultation for even a business owner?
Everything that I do is educational, and that is 100% no charge.
So a small business owner can have you come to their location. You're going to take a look at their plan if they have one, and you're going to be able to give them the best plan that's available. And again, I think that what I've learned in the last couple of years is that you really are an educator. I've never seen you come across as pitchy or salesmanish. You've always, to me, come across as an expert and as an educator, and that's something I can really, say with from the bottom of my heart to our listeners that that's what you represent.
And I appreciate you pointing that out, because really I take the guesswork and confusion out of healthcare coverage for both individuals and businesses. And the way I do that is I work directly with you or your HR executive to find the exact plan that serves you best. I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to educate you and become your trusted advisor. When you go to the doctor, he doesn't sell you. You go to him because you need advice. And that's what I am. I want to be your healthcare doctor.
So when you're working with people now, and you're looking for business, because we are Networking Squared, and we're all about getting people to find the right people to connect with. Are you looking for groups of people's businesses, or is your business more individuals, or do you do both?
I do a combination of both. What I'm finding, however, is that the number of business owners that are reaching out to me for advice has almost tripled in the last year and a half.
So are they pretty confused at what's going on?
Well, not only are they confused, but prices are spiraling out of control, and they don't know how to reduce their monthly premiums to even keep the plans in place for themselves and their employees.
So this is a pretty big issue then for the small employers.
It's huge, and as of January 1st, 2011, with Obamacare passing, the first part of the implementation of that whole 4-year program or 3-year program has now started, and that has increased. Some of those changes to healthcare plans have caused healthcare plans to increase anywhere from 25 to 30% overnight.
That's pretty staggering. I mean, that is really staggering. Give us all the information. That's what you need. You want to help people sort through. Are you spending a lot of time educating yourself on this?
Absolutely. In fact, in order to be an agent like what I am in Michigan, you have to be certified.
Okay.
That means that you have to go to continuing education classes constantly. You have to have a certain number of hours every year that you have to surpass. And so I constantly am learning and reading and networking.
Okay.
Networking Squared.
Perfect.
And that is how I stay up on all the latest information.
Now, Victor, I'm sitting here looking at this wonderful business card of yours. Now, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you to get some advice, how can they contact you?
Well, I always like to make sure that people can get a hold of me directly. So my direct phone number is 586-883-4663. Once again, 586-883-4663, or my email address is info, I-N-F-O, at My Health Plan Advisor, and My is spelled M-I for Michigan. Isn't that clever?
Neat.
M-I healthplanadvisor.com. So info at mihealthplanadvisor.com.
That's great. Another thing that, and I know we were going through all these different things, is that you had said to me that there's 6 items that people need to know. Can you share those?
Yes. In any great health insurance plan, you really want to cover some major items, and they are preventative care, doctor visits, hospitalization, surgery, prescriptions, and also making sure that if you need to go to the emergency room, you have coverage for either in or outpatient.
All right, so you're talking about 6 things. And when you're telling people and you're teaching people, these are the 6 items that are the most critical things that you need to know about. Is that what you're saying?
Well, let's put it this way. Those 6 items are germane to any health insurance coverage.
All right, let me go over them again real quick.
Okay, preventative care. What happens when you go to the doctor, annual physical, doctor visits, obviously, if you're ill or injured, hospitalization, surgery, inpatient, outpatient, prescriptions, and then making sure that all of that ties in with what you are comfortable with as far as copays, deductibles, and coinsurance.
And I think that what happens in a lot of situations is that people make assumptions on what they have, and then they're horrified when a woman goes to the gynecologist and they find out that it's not covered. And I think there's a lot of misinformation that goes out there. Dealing with an expert like yourself, it's something where they're going to have full knowledge of what they have, and they're going to know that there are no surprises when they actually need to use that coverage.
You're right, Al. In fact, out in listener land, think about it. Do you know how much your coinsurance is? If you had a mishap right now and you had to go into the hospital and it was a $100,000 bill, do you have any idea with the coverage you have now what your total out-of-pocket might be.
All right.
I bet you don't.
That's pretty dynamic stuff. I don't know. We really need to kind of be checking on that stuff. So we're going to talk just a bit about that on the other side of the break. And there was something else you wanted to talk about. You did some charity stuff?
Yes, we're going to be starting a community outreach program in May.
All right, well, we're going to talk about that community outreach. Erica, you could probably handle that.
Absolutely.
And Networking Squared, learning here on a Saturday morning. We will be right back.